And what's difficult about pre-K is there are a lot of studies that show we should be investing in pre-K because it does wonders for our children in terms of the long run. So it's hard to argue against. But there are many school districts, including in Rensselaer County, that can't even offer full-day kindergarten anymore because of the state aid cuts that have come from the state, particularly back under Governor Patterson when things were very difficult for the state. So you could have an instance where you have a child doing full-day pre-kindergarten, half-day kindergarten, followed by full-day first grade. So I think we have to iron out that issue first. But for counties, it's a very interesting topic because when it comes to children with special needs, counties, again, as a state mandate, are required to financially participate in the education system in that special needs pre-K program. So if there is going to be a universal pre-K program in the state, we would like to make sure that the special needs pre-K children that we're paying for are now going to be paid for by the state as well. So it truly would be a universal pre-K program offered by the state.
Back when we were raising our son, we would take him to Peppermint Park. It was called nursery school.
Yes.
And then he eventually went to kindergarten. And then during the summer, we would send him back to Peppermint Park, and it was a great facility. Or my parents would help out if there was a situation where we needed that. What has changed that now society needs a pre-K with the government as opposed to the way we did it?
Well, I think that's a very good question because
thank you.
Now you're going to have me disclose my age, but I have 2 grandchildren.
Okay.
And
I'm surprised.
Thank you. That was nice. My husband watches them 3 days a week.
Right.
And part of the time they go to pre-K program. My granddaughter, who's 3, goes for 2 half days, and my grandson.
Is that what it's called now, pre-K instead of nursery school?
Well, yes, pre-kindergarten is what they call it, and my grandson goes 3 mornings a week.
Okay.
So I think there are still models out of that type of a program out there, but truthfully, I think what happens is not everybody lives by their parents anymore.
Okay.
People, as I say, some of our young people, we're fighting very hard to keep them here after they go to college.
Sure.
But a lot of them are located throughout the country, so they don't have family close by. And then there are also families where you only have one parent, and so it's difficult for them to juggle the issue of pre-K as opposed to child care.
Right.
And so the pre-K programs fulfill a need there. And even some families with 2 parents that are both working and need that, the pre-K offers that extra head start, if you will, that a normal daycare program might not offer. And as a state, we've got to be concerned about, the competition of how well we're educating our children. So there are a lot of studies that demonstrate that a good pre-K program will set them on a good course. What,
continuing with education, what sort of an impact is Common Core having on the school systems of Rensselaer County? Is it being embraced, or folks not happy with it?
I think for the most part, people are not happy with it.
Okay.
And I don't know if there is a way to more gradually implement this. My sense in talking with the teachers and the administrators that I have is that it was thrown in too quickly. It was too big of a change. And what we worry about is that our young people who are in high school who are now scoring less than they might have otherwise on the previous standardized tests are being compared to young people in other states as well. And if the other states have a more planful approach to this, their children may not be so disadvantaged in terms of the marks that have come from these exams and their comparison when it comes to getting into colleges and getting scholarships and the like. So I'm hoping that there will be a more thoughtful plan about how to implement this such that it doesn't hurt our children as they're approaching their college careers.
Education is very important in Rensselaer County. You've got Hudson Valley Community College, and you've also got RPI, and that's a big part of Rensselaer County, isn't it?
It is, and Russell Sage as well in downtown
I forgot
Troy.
one.
Yes, my 2 daughters are graduates.
Sorry, Russell Sage.
They're near and dear to my heart. But yeah, and we're fortunate really that we have great educational institutions throughout the Capital Region. And not only is that advantageous for our children, but it's also advantageous when we're trying to attract businesses into the community. Because if you have a great education system, then you have well-educated people that jobs can be filled with. When we look at what's going on up in Malta in terms of the chip fab plant and all of the offshoots from that, when we look at what's going on at the Nano College, when we look at our East Campus, the East Campus of Albany, which is very heavy into the biotechnology and the like, they're looking for well-trained workforce. And when you have the colleges close by, you have that. Hudson Valley we're particularly proud of because they do such a wonderful job. I often think about them as a first alternative for young people as they're getting out of high school. And I tell them first, if you don't know what you're looking for, it's a great place to go.
It's a great school.
If you do know what you're looking for, it's a good place to go as well, because being accredited, many four-year colleges will accept all of Hudson Valley's credits. And so you save a little bit of money. And when you're talking about paying back those student loans at the end of your college career, it's nice to have a degree from RPI and Union and the like, but it's nice to have 2 years of that degree having come from the tuition costs at Hudson Valley rather than the tuition costs at the higher level. So it's just a great school all around. But it's also important, I think, for people to realize it's a wonderful asset when it comes to going back for education. I've done that a couple of times myself. When I was just newly out of Siena College, I went into the information technology field and in local government, and we were automating the financial programs for the city and the county. I went back and took accounting courses at Hudson Valley at night in governmental accounting. And then when microcomputers came on the scene, I went back there and took some courses in terms of word processing and spreadsheeting and the like. So it's a constant resource, I think, for many people in this area to go back and get up to speed. You
are so well known in the Capital Region. How does Kathy Jimino go back to school? Do you put on a disguise or something so nobody knows? And I, as an instructor, I would be very intimidated by having the Rensselaer County executive in my class. How do you do that?
Well, you just do it. And it's funny because actually a lot of people don't know county government as well as they may know their town or their village government. So we kind of fly under the radar sometimes, and I use that a little bit to my advantage when I go to talk to high school classes and government classes and the like. The teacher will introduce me as the county executive, and I'll start asking the students what they know about county government and talk a little bit about, do they know who their representatives are in the county legislature? And of course these are high school kids, and I know. And I'll say to them, do you know who your county executive is? And they'll say no. And the teacher who just introduced me as the county executive is in the back of the room going, oh my gosh. So we do kind of fly under the radar, but I've gone back and had wonderful experiences at Hudson Valley. I did my master's degree at Empire State College, finished that up while I was the county executive, and I've had wonderful experiences in educational institutions throughout the region. Well,
I was reading your credentials, and I was like very impressed. Like I didn't know that you did this and that. You know, had all of these different degrees.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Something we were talking about before going on the air today. Chris Iorio, who is my boss here, he lives in Amsterdam. Mark, who's doing camera, he lives out in Cobleskill, and you are in Rensselaer County, and people from those municipalities, as well as Saratoga and Albany, are very interested in having the casino there. And you'd like it in Rensselaer, and we were talking about that.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about that a little?
Well, we talked a little bit about the waterfront, and there is a parcel in Rensselaer, right on the waterfront,
by
where
the
high school used to sit, right near the train station, right near the interstate, right on the river. And the mayor there is interested in attracting a casino and has been talking with a number of developers and a number of casino operators and the like. We do think it would be an ideal location, very accessible, as I say, from train, car, even boat.
On Memorial Bridge?
Yes.
And the Patroon Island Bridge, either side?
Yes. It's accessible by boat, and we see tremendous traffic up and down the Hudson River in the summertime, people enjoying their boats and going up through the canal system and the like. It's right across the river from Albany. Albany has now downsized their convention center plans, and so they're going to have to tie in the entertainment venues to really attract the conventions that they would like, and so that would certainly be a wonderful attraction that they could add to their list of activities in Albany that people could participate when they come in for conventions. So, and certainly the city of Rensselaer could use that shot in the arm in terms of the economic development that would bring, both from a jobs basis and a property tax basis. So we're pretty high on it.
Well, the voters in the city of Albany and Albany County, when they voted on the referendum, said they don't want it, and as the same with the voters in Saratoga County and Saratoga Springs. Is that going to influence the final decision? These people don't want us, why should we go there?
Well, I think how vocal they are will certainly influence the decision, and we're seeing that in Saratoga County. I think most of us truthfully thought before the vote that Saratoga would be the logical spot that it would go, because there was already the Racino, and it would just be a matter of expanding that. But I think the opposition of the people that live in the city to that expansion, they love what they have. It fits with what else is going on in the city. But I think they're concerned that if that grows, it will somehow be a detriment, more so than an asset to what they've already got going on. And so that really opened up the opportunity, I think, more so than many of us thought would be. And so we're going to hopefully put forward a good proposal and be competitive.
You had alluded to parts of Rensselaer County which have environmental problems which are being addressed and being cleaned up. One that seems to continue is out there in the village of Nassau. In fact, we were talking about this the other day on the phone. A Troy Record reporter was telling me that people are swimming and fishing in Nassau Lake, which is like, wow.
Yes, yeah. The Dewey Loeffel landfill, just a little bit outside of the village, actually was a huge dumping ground in the 50s and 60s.
For GE and Schenectady International,
yes, yeah. Some 46,000 tons of waste apparently went in there, which is twice the amount that went into the Love Canal out in Buffalo. So it's a huge problem, and the DEC, the New York State Environmental Conservation, worked on it for years to cap it, to try to put up a wall between the landfill and the Kinderhook that was taking some of the leachate down into Nassau Lake. There are monitoring wells by the landfill and near people's homes to monitor, but still this was leaking out. And so in 2011, based on the call from the local people, both in government and those who live around the landfill, and with the support of DEC, we petitioned the federal government to take it on to their Superfund list, which they did. So the water is now that is leaching out of the landfill is now being captured and cleaned before it is turned back into the Kinderhook Creek. But there is still significant pollution both in the landfill itself and in the lake where it has seeped.
I was astounded to hear anybody would even...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can fish in the lake, but you cannot eat the fish. So it's a catch and release kind of basis, and you are allowed to swim in it because the logic is that the PCBs are in the sediment. And so as long as you're not disturbing the sediment, then that's not a problem.
I'm going to ask you a question. Will Kathy Jimino be taking her family to swim in Nassau Lake this summer?
I think so. No. And the people that live out there are not satisfied, by any means, that anything but a full cleanup of both the landfill and the lake should be done. With the federal government having taken it over, they have the ability to go back to GE and to go back to the other companies that were involved and say, you need to pony up the money for this cleanup. And they are doing that. The water filtration plant that was just built up there was paid for by the responsible companies. But going forward, it will be up to the EPA, with input from the community, to determine just how big of a cleanup will take place there. Because it has to be feasible, it has to be, something that's definitely warranted. But clearly, as I say, we're looking for a full cleanup of both the landfill and the lake, so that we're not handing this off to another generation to make it their problem.